Received a client email asking me about what we think about the directionality for copper in near to intermediate term and then versus the long term. Let me read you her question. Hey Serge, hope you're well. Quick question on copper. I know you have a favorable view of copper in the long term. I'm wondering for the next few months, is it likely going to fall and may just be better to ultimately buy it again when it goes up? Perfect question, and thank you, Marie, for emailing that. The best way to explain this is to understand that copper is actually very volatile. So I brought along this chart here that I would like to share with you, which shows us at the bottom here in blue, and I hope everyone can see this. Let me make this a white chart actually. You can see this is the volatility or the historical volatility of copper, and so again this is the blue stuff at the bottom, and you can see sort of an average volatility here is probably somewhere around 30, maybe a touch lower. If you juxtapose that to, let's say, the S&P 500, it's back, which right now for the last few years has a volatility, an average historical volatility of closer to, let's call it 20 on average. So obviously spikes along the way, but kind of 20 on average. So that makes copper a more volatile asset. So the question that Maria asks is really, it's a very good question, but it also very much brings out the importance of why we need to look at this in different time frames and keeping the investment allocation separate from, let's say, a trading allocation. And I would like to revisit this. So first of all, if we look at copper in the long term, we think this is one of the better looking charts. This includes stocks like Freeport-McMoRan. In fact, if you look at the historical correlations of something like copper, if you look at this here where I'm circling, copper and FCX have a historical positive correlation of about 0.76. So the CPER ETF, which tracks copper, and Freeport-McMoRan FCX. So, and Freeport-McMoRan mines copper, right? So it's a copper mining stock. So the companies are, those two tickers are closely correlated. That makes a lot of sense. What I think is important to keep in mind here, and this is also very much the way I would address the question, is my take on allocating this, and I think this is an interesting sort of asset allocation way for everyone to consider, is when you believe in something that has, where there's a fundamental view in the longer term. In this case, let's say it's copper. It could be gold. It could be something else. What I do typically is I initiate a position, and I will start with a third position. Then upon pullbacks, I'll buy maybe another third, and so forth, as long as that fundamental case remains. But those are core allocations, and I typically won't reduce and until that fundamental case dissipates. So when it comes to trading along the edges of this, what I would say is keep the trades and keep the core allocation along. So for example, let's look at gold, the GLD ETF. This is one where it's exactly the same idea, at least for me, where I initiated a long gold position. I believe I upped it again in October of 2023. And along the way, I've been doing a little bit of trades here and there. But those trades should not change the allocation of the core allocation to gold in this case, or to CPER if that were the way to play copper. So it's a really good question by Marie, and it's one that can be very simply managed by having, again, a core allocation and keeping that steady and separate from the trading allocation, meaning near term swings. We are going to cover a lot of this week when we go through what I think are the top 5 tickers to look at for the second half of 2024. And one thing we're going to look at is we're going to be using our market rover, which you can see is clearly bullish. That's the green background color from a trending perspective. This is literally what this is built for. So Marie, if you're watching this and anyone else, the way we separate from trades from investment allocations is by having a trend, which is in case the green background color, which at some point will change, and then trades along the way, which would be that little buy signal there, which you can see we got a buy signal, target 1 and 2, then the trailing stop got hit here, and then I'm sure it's right now, I think we're going to get another buy signal before too long. Again, those are trades. So as long as we remain in that green zone, we're in a bullish trend, which means we want to keep an allocation to copper. And from a trading perspective, we want to get back into a trade as a separate idea, maybe with options, maybe not, on a more near-term basis based on those signals there. So we're going to cover that this week. I would encourage everyone to take a little bit of time out of your week and join us with that in that discussion, because I think as we enter the second half of the year, we're going to have a different market, and one where we're going to see different leadership and tremendous opportunities away from the AI stories, which are tremendous stories. But I think that could be something where there's a lot of people missing major trends, particularly things like copper and a whole bunch of other things that will show you exactly what they are in our special session this week. So make sure you join us, take a little bit of time out of your day, bring a pen and a piece of paper, and we look forward to welcoming you in that special discussion. See you there.